There's something about a radical transformation that really excites us. It's that rocky training montage sequence that we all see coming, but love anyway. And look, I'm all for the glow up, leveling up, working hard for that big life transformation. But what I've come to realize is that the transformations that I've held on to in real life were as a result of daily commitments applied over a long period of time. It's those micro habits that have actually made real improvement in my life. Now, at the big age of 41, all I want to do right now in this season of life is make things easier. And the concept of being effortless that the author Greg McKeown describes in his book Effortless is something that really appeals to me right now. As he describes it, being effortless means being emotionally unburdened, physically rested, and mentally energized. And the following 6 micro habits help you do exactly that. They help you become effortless. Micro habit number 1, use the cognitive ease principle and ask yourself, what if this could be easy? Our brain is wired to choose what it perceives to be easy over what it perceives to be hard, and this is called the cognitive ease principle. Simply put, we naturally prefer the path of least resistance. But somehow we've been conditioned to think that being super successful means doing hard and complicated things. And let's just get rid of that thought by actually applying the simple micro habit of thinking, what if this could be easy? Now here's an example. In 2017, I ran a half marathon and I ran my personal record of 1 hour and 57 minutes and some change. And then 2017 is also the year that I stopped working out altogether because of work and life, and you know how that goes. And now last year, I think about September of 2023, I decided that I wanted to get back into shape and want to run a sub-2 half marathon again. So I signed up for a race, and that's actually going to happen in July of this year. I started doing research. I started doing research on how I can get faster. I started running 6 days a week. I did low heart rate training, real high volume running, super obsessed with being faster. And the result was shin splints, and I just got overwhelmed with this major effort and I quit altogether again. Now, in January, I decided to pick running up again because I want to be fit and I also still want to do that race in July. And then this time I thought to myself, how can this be easy? And I thought back to the training schedule that I did in 2017, and that was only 4 days a week. So I picked that training schedule up again. And in 2017, I never thought about how fast I'm going to run. So I'm doing the same thing now. I'm just running, putting one foot in front of the other and just going. And the result is that I'm getting back into shape. My pace is getting faster. I'm actually inspired to eat better. I'm inspired to actually do some strength training, which I've never done before, in service of my running. It's great. I'm having a lot of fun with this. All of this to say is get rid of that assumption that the easier path is lazy or inferior and start looking for opportunities that are highly valuable and simple and easy. Just get into that micro habit of asking yourself, what if this could be easy? Micro habit number 2, use an analog watch. I don't have to tell you that being on your phone for prolonged periods of time is not the best use of your time. And I know that most of us are not intentionally picking up our phone to be on there for 20 minutes and waste time. Most of the time, we just want to check the time. But then you pick up your phone, check the time, but then you see that you have messages or text messages or emails or Instagram. You want to check that real quick. TikTok, X nowadays. I still want to call it Twitter. Let's say X, right? And before you know it, you lost 20 minutes on your phone, just because you wanted to know what time it is. Now, the very easy micro habit that you can apply to not be on your phone unintentionally for so long is get yourself an analog watch. You can only check the time and nothing else on your analog watch. I also have a smartwatch. In my case, I have a Garmin sports watch, and I use that watch a lot for when I go running, but I do switch it out for my analog watch every time because there's a wealth of information on that sports watch as well that you can waste time on, right? I can look at my running stats, I can look at my health stats, all the things. Same for any other smartwatch. You can still see if you have messages or not, and then still pick up your phone because you want to check what those messages are on a bigger screen. Just use an analog watch. It's that really small micro habit that will save you a lot of time in your day. Micro habit number 3, Journaling. I think it's Tim Ferriss who said that journaling is the most cost-effective therapy I've ever found. Now, me personally, I've never been to therapy because confessing my deepest, darkest thoughts and feelings to a stranger, that's really not something that I dare to do, but doing that to a piece of paper is totally doable and a lot cheaper. Now, when I journal, I find that I can look at my situation from a different perspective, right? I can step back and talk myself off a ledge if need be. And I really think that journaling is helping with my emotional and mental health. And it's actually been scientifically proven that journaling is good for you. In a 2019 study with patients and their families and healthcare professionals at a children's hospital, they found that their stress levels went down by journaling. And they were asked to journal about the following prompts. They were asked to write 3 things that you're grateful for, to write the story of your life in 6 words, and to write 3 wishes that you have. Now, there's also a 2018 study on emotional and physical health benefits of expressive writing. And this study particularly highlights the improvements of your physical and psychological health by writing about traumatic, stressful, or emotional events. And also the podcaster Andrew Huberman, the neuroscientist that we all love here on the internet, he did a whole podcast on this specific form of journaling where you write about stressful or traumatic events. And I really encourage you to listen to that podcast, and I'll put that link to it in the description below, as well as links to the studies that I referenced throughout this video. I'll put those links in the description below as well. My daily journaling practice consists of a daily log, writing down my thoughts, my feelings, my goals, my aspirations, and writing down at least one thing that I'm grateful for every day. And gratitude journaling has been proven to give you increased feelings of happiness, improve your relationships, and also increased feelings of enoughness. Now, when you're just starting with your micro habit of journaling, I would suggest to do 15 minutes to an hour a day. And me personally, I am really extra about my journaling. I have fountain pens and multiple notebooks that I write different things in, but you don't need all of that, right? All you need is a piece of paper and a pen. You can also type when you journal, use whatever word processor that you prefer. But I think you've heard it before that when you write something down, it sinks into your memory better. So when you have any insights from your journaling, then you will remember them better if you write them by hand. So I really do recommend pen and paper. Remember that micro habits work because you're putting low but really valuable effort in over a prolonged period of time. So give journaling a try for at least a month, and I'm sure you've also heard that a habit will stick when you do it for at least 30 days. Give it a try for a month, and I'm sure that you will see the benefits of journaling. Micro habit number 4, capture. How often have you had a brilliant thought, or you remembered that you have to call a family member, and then you vow to yourself that you're gonna remember it only to forget about it at the end of the day? The micro habit of capturing important thoughts immediately when you think of them prevents that. So when you think about something that you have to do or something that you think is really important, write it down immediately, either in a notebook or maybe in a note-taking app. And then that way you don't have to waste precious mental capacity to try and remember it all day. Now, if you come across any articles, YouTube videos, podcasts, also save the links to those on your digital device, but also write down the gist of it in your own words. There's a study, the generation effect, activating broad neural circuits during memory encoding, and that proved that you are much more likely to remember the information that you wrote down in your own words, and this is called the generation effect. When you actively generate a series of words, more parts of your brain are activated than when you simply reread the same words. And in that way, you actually remember these things better. By capturing a piece of information, you're also creating the opportunity for new ideas when you actually get the time to ponder and expand on the ideas that you wrote down in the first place. I capture in a notebook that goes everywhere with me because I do want to drastically decrease my screen time, but you can also capture on your digital devices through apps, Notion, Samsung, or Apple Notes. You can also use flashcards, sticky notes, all the things. Now, at the end of the day, I check on what I captured to see if it is something that needs immediate attention or if it's something that needs to be added to a to-do, to read, or to watch list, or if it's just a really intriguing thought that is worthy of more research. Now, that micro habit of capturing really helps you stay present in the moment when you're doing something really important, but at the same time preserves those thoughts that you would otherwise forget.
Micro habit number 5, read fiction before bed.
We all know that being on our screens, your TV, iPad, phone, right before bed is not really good. And my preferred way of winding down at the end of a busy day is reading a good fiction book. Now, I know there's a whole bunch of wonderful people out there that would read, but only read if they can learn something from it. So they prefer nonfiction or only read nonfiction and, let's say, the self-improvement books out there. I do applaud that thirst for knowledge, and I personally do enjoy reading a nonfiction book as well. But here I really would like to highlight the benefits of reading fiction books, in addition to it just being fun and relaxing. Now, there's a study called Reading Literary Fiction Improves Theory of Mind, and that study showed that people after reading literary fiction as opposed to nonfiction performed better on tests measuring empathy, social perception, and intelligence. I translate that in one of the benefits of reading fiction of you being more capable of putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. You have increased capacities of being compassionate and kind, and we can all use a little bit more kindness in the world. Now, reading in general helps you improve your vocabulary. And then reading fiction in particular helps with increasing your vocabulary a little bit more than reading nonfiction. And this is because there's a bigger variety of words that are used in fiction books to describe situations, scenes, emotions, to describe dialogue that's happening between two characters. There are so many benefits to reading in general, and I do enjoy reading a self-improvement book in the morning as part of my morning routine. For your evening routine, I do recommend the micro habit of reading a fiction book. Maybe get yourself a cup of tea, light a candle. To me, those are the perfect going to sleep vibes.
And last but not least, micro habit number 6, take care of your emotional hygiene.
When it comes to our bodies, we all know the value of personal hygiene. We brush our teeth, we have our hair care, our skincare routines. But when it comes to our emotional hygiene, we often neglect it. So here I want to suggest a few micro habits that are specifically for your emotional hygiene. Get in the habit of treating your emotional injuries. When you have to deal with failure, loss, or rejection, talk to a trusted friend, maybe go to therapy or journal. When we have a cut or something, we treat it, right? We make sure that we clean it, we put a Band-Aid on it. Do the same with your emotional injuries. Get in the habit of immediately squashing negative self-talk. Whenever you find yourself saying something unkind to yourself, right away say something really good about yourself. We tend to fixate too much on negative things, and this is because we are naturally wired to look for things that might threaten us in our lives. This is called the negativity bias. Now, back in the day, this was really useful because that saber-toothed tiger would stand out in time so that we could run. Nowadays, we actually still fixate on those negative things that happen throughout our day, but on average, the negative things that happen to us are not really life-threatening. A great micro habit to get into to counteract the effects of that negativity bias is to really try to think about the good things that are happening in your life on a regular basis. The book Effortless also highlights being grateful as a powerful micro habit. McEwen suggests that every time you catch yourself complaining about something, attach gratitude to that. So here's an example. My husband and I, we just booked our tickets to go to that half marathon that I spoke about. It's in California. We live in Florida. And as I'm booking the ticket, I find myself complaining about the fact that you need to pay extra on JetBlue for your carry-on luggage. So I attached gratitude to that thought right away because I am very grateful that we can go on this runcation in the first place. It's great that we can afford to do something like that. There are many other daily micro habits that really help you become effortless and really actually improve your life, such as making sure that you drink enough water, maybe tiny little breaks throughout the day, little dance parties throughout the day. And I'm sure that you can think of a lot more micro habits that would be helpful. And if you can think of anything, then make sure that you leave those in the comments below so that we can help each other out. And also, if you made it this far in the video, please subscribe to this channel because you are absolutely my people. The key is to use our micro habits consistently over time so that we can keep walking that path of least resistance and achieve our goals effortlessly.